Hello and welcome. My name is Allie Hall and I'm going to be teaching you how to create a digital slide. In this video we are going to go over the 5 rules of digital advertising, where to get some free design resources, and of course how to make your slide. So let's get started. First we're going to go over the 5 rules of digital advertising. Rule number 1, keep your message short and simple. The basic concept behind this is if you use too many words, your audience is going to be driven by your sign before they can read it. So make your point in as few words as possible. Rule number 2, use a large font. This is the same concept. Simple messages and the largest font you can fit on your screen can be best for response rates, and negative space, although in design can be important, when advertising may leave your viewer wanting. Rule number 3, make use of contrasting colors and clear images. So this rule is broken down into 2 parts, the first one being contrasting colors. We recommend that you use light fonts on dark backgrounds and stay away from using colors that are too close in hue and would be hard to distinguish, especially at a quick glance or from a far distance. Often a black background with bright copy is best. We also recommend that you never use a white background on ads, especially ones that will be played at night, because it could blind drivers and get you complaints. Part 2 of this rule is clear images. Lots of people want to use a scene in their digital sign when a simple object might be better. As an example of this, you wouldn't want to use a picture of a whole coffee shop to advertise your cafe. Instead, just a simple image of a pile of coffee beans or just a coffee cup with some coffee in it might be best. Rule number 4 is quick slide rotation. We recommend that you do not use transitions on your digital slides, as they can waste valuable time your viewer has to look at your advertisements. We also recommend that you keep your slide durations very short. 2 to 3 seconds can be best, and if you have longer messages, breaking that message up into separate slides and playing them just for 2 seconds can be the best way to keep your viewers' attention. The last rule, rule number 5, is rotate your content. So often we have customers that create great slides and then leave them up for months on end. Even a great slide will be lost in the background after a couple of days of seeing the same one. We recommend that you try to rotate your content out and change it up, even if it's the same messages, at least once a week. If you want to keep a copy of these rules on you, we'll have a link in the description for a downloadable PDF with all these rules laid out for you and some bonus tips and tricks. Next up, let's take a look at some free resources that you can use while designing your slides. First up, for photos, we recommend Unsplash as a great resource for lots of high-quality free pictures and beautiful designs. Next up, for illustrations, we have Pixabay. Similar to Unsplash, Pixabay has a lot of free resources for you to browse through and find exactly what you need in illustration format. These illustrations can be used to easily change up your content. Finally, for videos, we recommend Pixels. Here you can find tons of free videos that are both high quality and engaging that you can use in your advertising. The links for all these websites can be found in the description of this video. Alright, let's design a slide. In this video, I'm going to be using Google Slides to show you how to design a slide for free, but you may use any program at your disposal, whether that is PowerPoint or Canva or even something as advanced as Adobe Photoshop. So here I am in Google Slides, and I'm going to go and click on Blank to start a new presentation. And I'm just going to delete all the content that generates in here out, so we have a fresh slate. Now I'm going to go to File and Page Setup, and this is where we're going to set our ratio. So for your ratio, you'll want to know the size of your sign. Here are the ratios for several of our common sizes. But it's very simple to figure out what your ratio is. Know the size of your sign, and it can be as easy as converting that to inches and typing it in here. The sign size we have at the office is a 3x6, so I'm going to go ahead and put 6 and 3 in here and hit apply. Now you can see the border of our canvas is stretched out a bit farther, and that's how we know it is the correct size. Next, let's find some content. I'm going to use Unsplash, like we talked about earlier, to find some quick pictures for our slide. I'm going to be creating a Sunday worship slide in this example today. So I'm going to look up some pictures of a Bible. Here's a nice one here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it and download for free. I see that it's in my downloads. I'm going to show in folder and just drag that to my desktop, just so I know where it is. While I'm here, I'm also going to grab this picture for a second example. Now that we've done that, we can go back to our slide. And before we add that content, I'm going to change the background color. To do that, I'm just going to right click, hit change background, and choose a color. As we mentioned in the tips, a dark background is usually better, but I'm thinking I'm going to use an image for the background, so I'm just going to stick with black. Next, I'm going to insert one of our images. So I'm going to go to this button here that says Insert Image, Upload from Computer, go to my desktop where I've got both of those images I downloaded earlier, and here's this image. Now when you're adjusting the size of these images, you'll want to grab from the corners so that it scales correctly and doesn't stretch out your image. If you scale from somewhere else, you can see it stretches out your image and can make it look awkward. I'm going to just stretch this out to fit the whole scene. There we go. And I'm going to adjust the height so that we have a good amount of the book in and enough background for me to add my text. I'm going to now crop my image. You can just drag the crop bar around, and those red lines can help guide you to your page. There we go. And just click out of that to complete it. Next, I'm going to add my text. I'm going to grab my text box here and just click to add it in and type in my text. We can edit it later. Alright, there's my text. As you can see, it's dark and probably wouldn't stand out great, and it's very small, so we're going to adjust both of those things. So what you're going to want to do is highlight all your text to make sure you're adjusting that. Right here is the text color. I'm going to just make it white. Right here you can adjust your font. I'm going to go ahead and find just a simple font, and I'm going to click on the boldest option. I'm going to align my text right here in the Align tab, and now it's time to make it bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way up to 48, see how that looks. Looks good, maybe just a little bit too big. There we go. We'll go with that. I'm going to adjust the bounding box so that it fits most of the text in it, so if I align it later, it'll work. You can also adjust the space between the lines right here in line and paragraph. I want it to just be a little bit closer, so I'm going to add a custom spacing and do 0.8. Apply. That looks good to me, but I think it actually could be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to highlight it all again and go back up to 40. That seems like a good spot for this text. Now, a common problem people have with text on a background that's a photo is that the photo isn't dark enough for the text to show up as well as they want. And I'm going to show you 2 ways you can combat that. So the first way is to, while you have your text selected, click this Format options and go here to Drop Shadow. Now that's going to create a darkness directly behind the text. Now we want it to be a little bit larger than it is here. So I'm going to turn up the blur radius to about 20. And I'm going to turn down the transparency so that it gets even darker behind there. Probably to 15. So as you can see, this darkness in between and behind the text can help the white text stand out even more against an even darker background. Now let's make it even more apparent by just creating a dark rectangle behind the text. So I'm going to go into Shapes and click on this rectangle and go ahead and draw one in. We can adjust it later, so don't worry about it being perfect. Now we can see it's automatically created a light color, so we're going to go into this Fill tool, and I'm just going to select a color kind of from the background so that it fits in with my image. That's good. And for the outline, I'm going to just set that to transparent. Now you might notice that this bar has appeared above my text, and to fix that, we're going to right-click, Order, Send Backwards, and there you go. Our text is now on top. So now just play around with your shape until it is where you want it in comparison to your text. And there we go. That's our first slide done. To download it, you just hit File, Download, and JPEG. Now if you create multiple at once, this is only going to grab the one that you're selected on, so you'll have to go through and click on each slide and download it separately. Now let's walk through one more example just so that you have time to understand the process. So I just hit this plus button to add another slide with the same ratio as the first one, so I don't have to set it up again. Deleted everything on it, and let's start by changing the background color. So this time I'm going to use something from these dark colors at the bottom. I'm gonna go with the cyan and just hit done. There we go. Now you can see we have a nice dark background. I'm gonna add in that other photo that we dragged to our desktop earlier, and I'm going to make it a little bigger and drag it all the way over to this side of the page. I'm going to actually even make it just a little bit larger than this. And like I said earlier, you can use those red lines to help yourself line things up. And then once again, I'm going to crop off any excess. And click out of it. Now I'm going to go right into adding my text. So I'm going to hit the text box tool up here and just click and type in my text once again. There we go. Going to select it all so that I'm editing all of it. I'm going to go into the fonts menu and pick something a little different this time. There we go. Going to make it bigger once again. As you can see, make it bigger once again, but before I do that, I'm going to adjust my text box just to be the width of this section of the screen, and I'm going to go ahead and center it. It's pretty good, but I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Probably 42 is a good size. Now I'm going to edit the color, so I'm going to go highlight it all and then go under text color. Get white again with this key information. I'm going to make that a very light pink. Now at the end I always make adjustments, so I'm going to actually just make it a couple points bigger and center it again. And just to get that pink color in somewhere else on the screen, I'm going to create a shape and go back to rectangle. I'm going to create a little line right here to be my transition between the photo and the text. And I'm going to click on the fill bucket, make it that same color, click on the border and set that just to transparent, and pull my text box in so that it's centered correctly. There we go, that's another slide down. And to export it, I go to File, Download, JPEG. And as you can see, both slides have ended up in my download folder. After that, all you'd have to do is upload them to your sign. If you would prefer to take the responsibility of art off your plate, check out our digital content options at opticedge.com/content. Our designers have the experience, design capabilities, and top-notch programming to maintain fresh and influential messaging on your digital sign. Let our experts design specifically for you and your business, and you won't be overlooked again. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.